Buckle up, folks. This podcast is all about diving into the good, the bad, and the ugly of our bodily, spiritual, and mental experiences. If you are not prepared to challenge your assumptions, laugh at yourself, laugh at me, or maybe even shed a tear or two, then you might want to look elsewhere. But if you're ready to get real, get honest, and get a little weird, then welcome to the Just Chrissy podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy McCammon. Welcome, my friends. This is Chrissy, the host of Just Chrissy and the owner of Rooted in Wellness. I am excited to talk today about sleep and how important sleep is. I literally feel like, I know our culture is so opposite of what is actually good for us. And I remember when I started learning and trying to change things, I literally felt like I was going against the grain of every single thing the rest of the world was doing. So it seemed normal, the things that I was doing. However, it was not normal. And what really was normal isn't being done. And so it's going to feel as you make these changes like you are going against the grain, and people may even look at you weird. It will take some mindset to make the changes that need made. While I'm talking about mindset, I hope you're keeping a notebook of the 30 days, because each person is a bio individual and their bodies have different circumstances. And so what I might need may not be what essentially you need because of the environment. We need the same things in a sense, but we may need them in different ways. So I hope that you're taking notes, writing down the things that stand out to you, applying the things that are important to you to help you in your wellness journey. You have to look at what are you willing to do? What can you do? What can you afford to do? Which these 30 days, most of it you can do for yourself for free. So I really hope that you're taking notes and figuring out like what you need to apply. The other thing that I've learned in my journey is asking the question, why? Science is asking why. Why do I need to do that? Why does that work? What is happening in my body? When someone tries to tell me to just do something and not ask questions, I definitely get red flags and am like, you know what? I don't like that they aren't allowing me to ask questions. And I don't like that they're not willing to give me the information. God gave us a brain. He gave us the inbuilt ability to heal. And it is good to ask questions. And if you don't understand it, ask more questions. You don't have to take someone's word. Don't take my word. These teachings are for your benefit. And I hope that what it does is piques your curiosity and that you dig deeper and you ask more questions. Am I right 100% of the time? I'm sure I'm not. I think what happens and what we realize is we as humans are not that smart, but God is smart. And so as science figures things out, we get new information, new understanding, and we begin to really have to change the way we think about things sometimes. That is hard to admit, that maybe sometimes you're wrong or you just had wrong information. So now your perception has changed. That happens to me all the time. My perception will change. So be open to learning new things. Be open to being wrong. Be open to asking questions. Be open to digging deeper. Read books. Listen to podcasts. Get more information. Today we're going to talk about sleep because it is one of the essential things that people need and they don't understand why. And once you understand why, and actually I'm probably going to do this in two parts because there's so much. But once you understand why, you will be more likely to make an effort to get more sleep on a regular basis. Our bodies are designed to have periods of waking and sleeping to be able to just perform the tasks that we require of them efficiently and effectively. Every cell, every organ, every function in the body has to have sleep. And then wake time. Like there's these cycles that we do specifically in a 24-hour period. These cycles, both the physical and the mental, are caused by light and dark. Isn't God smart? Light and dark. It affects animals, it affects plants, and even microbes. If we look at the purpose of sleep and what is happening while we're sleeping, it's really interesting. I don't want you to give up. Like, if that's the other thing. If you hear words and you're like, I don't even know what that means. I don't know what she just said. Don't just listen, pick up what you can, because you'll hear it again at some point, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, that makes sense to me now. Don't give up right away, because when you first start talking biology or natural health, or anything new, actually, there's going to be terms that maybe you don't recognize. Don't let that discourage you or make you give up. So when we're tired and ready to sleep at the end of the day, it's because there's this buildup of sleep pressure, and our circadian rhythm system is set by light and dark signals. The purpose of it is super interesting. So metabolism. Metabolism is the name given to the complete total of the chemical changes that takes place in the body. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of times, like people say, oh, they have slow metabolism, they have fast metabolism. But what it is changes happening in the body, or actions happening in the body, and they all can be grouped into two different categories. And by the way, this sleep is going to be more than one podcast because it's such a huge, important subject, and there's so much going on. So we have two important categories. It's called catabolism and anabolism. This you might want to make notes on, because you'll be like, what did she say they did? Reactions which involve the breakdown or decomposition of substances into energy is happening all day as we work and move. This is called catabolism. So it's a breakdown and a decomposition of substances being broken down into energy. Then you have the second action, which involves building up or the synthesis of new material, creating new material, which happens while we sleep. It's called anabolism. Anabolism. It is a natural process for us to become weary and fatigued when catabolism, which is the breakdown, has been active for a while, and then it's time for anabolism. Sleep is essential for anabolism, or the build up, the creating of new material to effectively take place. We wake up naturally when it is completed. Isn't that super interesting? So when we think about what's happening in the brain is actually a collection of cells, and there are two of them. There are two groups. There are the neurons and the glial, G-L-I-A-L cells. These cells work together to make sure that our brain can do its job. Just like anywhere else, there's house cleaning that needs to happen, and it's required. This happens at night while anabolism is in motion, or the buildup or the creation of new materials. So while your body is creating new materials while you're resting, it is also cleaning out your system. The cleaning system is the glymphatic system, which is achieved by the glial cells. So neurons are often thought of as the main cells in the brain because they have a very important job of communicating between the brain and the body. Glial cells are the supportive cells in the brain and are more numerous than nerve cells. They are the second smallest cell in the body. It has the job in the brain of cleaning house. So as our neurons are firing all day long, the metabolic waste is created, And then this system effectively executes the elimination of the waste. The energy cycle inside the nerve cells also leaves waste products that require elimination. So I don't think we think about that. We just think, oh, our body works and it's fantastic, blah, blah, blah. But we don't think about, okay, all day long, not just in the brain, but we're talking about the brain right now, there is things happening and breakdown of material. And from the breakdown of that material, you're going to have waste just sitting in there. We never think about the fact that how does that come out, or how do you get that out? So you got to also understand that more waste is created by negative emotions. So I do love Dr. Caroline Leaf. I love her thought. One of the things that she said that has stuck with me always is that the brain, no matter who you are, you can rewire your brain or the way you think. And I totally watched this happen when my son had a mental reaction to a medication. He had to rewire the brain, which we'll talk about that more. But I don't care who you are. I fully believe, and I think I write about this in my book. I think I'm going to leave it in there. I don't know. About that, I fully believe that you can rewire the brain. The Bible says that you renew your mind. You renew your mind. So I totally believe that is possible. You can renew your mind. So you have this waste that also can be created by negative emotions. So Caroline Leaf explains a lot about that in her book, Who Switched Off My Brain. You can actually create pathways in your brain. You can create pathways in your brain, which I think we'll go into that more later. But we need to make decisions to forgive those who hurt us, which is, listen, if you know the Bible, this all lines directly up with the Bible. Like, forgive those who have hurt us, so that the glial cells that are activated to clean up the thorns while we sleep. So you have these pathways that are created in your brain by your thoughts. And so if you continue to stay in that thinking pattern, it makes the pathway stronger. And so what you need to do is you need to change and say, for instance, I heard Mel Robbins talk about this. She said, when she would get on a plane, that she would always have this dread when she got on the plane. And so she started thinking, when she would get on the plane, she intentionally changed her thinking and was like, wow, when I get to wherever and see Chrissy, this is going to be amazing. And she started, just instead of focusing on the negative, she started like thinking the positive. And over time, it changes and you create a new pathway, so that when your brain goes back to a memory, that memory is going to be the positive, not the negative. However, you have to keep in mind that pathway you created way back when is still there. So if you start going back to that negativity, you're going to pick back up on that negativity. Okay. But this is about sleep, so let's get back to that. Light and dark signals are fed through the optic nerve in the eye, which is the control center in the brain, to the brain where the body clock is located. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, or otherwise known as the SCN. The SCN generates a near 24-hour rhythm. Sunlight synchronizes it each day. Here we are again with the sun. You need to get out in the sun. This process, the synchronism, this 24-hour rhythm, is called the circadian rhythm. This SCN communicates with the pineal gland to release certain hormones between the hours of 9 and 2. Now this is important. 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. There are 4 specific hormones that the pineal gland releases through these hours. Now, if you're someone who doesn't get proper sleep, I want you to think about how this is affecting it. Serotonin, which is the happy or the mood hormone, it boosts our mood. We're happier people when we sleep during these hours, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. The epithalamion is a hormone. Epithalamion, learning capacity is increased and aging is slowed with this hormone. Arginine or arginine vasopressin. It's our natural painkiller, and it can ease our pain if we have any. Also, this hormone is instrumental in causing us to fall into a deep sleep. And then you have melatonin. And this hormone is given the name the fix and rejuvenate nighttime hormone, as it is the hormone that activates our glial cells and the anabolism while we sleep. Melatonin is the body's biological signal of darkness, meaning it's dark and it's time to sleep. Okay, that's part 1. We're going to come back tomorrow with part 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take this podcast, figure out how you can apply it to your life, and start applying. Have a great day.